Guys and dolls, good morning, Freedom Dad here. And I'm just going to throw a wee video together because it's Sunday and, just fitting. So I'm going to bring a wee video about Enoch today and his plight in Ireland, and just to give you an understanding of what's going on in layman's terms. So Enoch was in a school. Don't really need to name the school there, don't think it really matters, but it's all over the internet, it's called the Wilson Hospital School. I don't exactly know anything about it, but that's the school he was going to, and it was, at the time, the head of the school was a woman called McShane. So I will get into it and have a wee look at it and explain to you what's going on. You know what I mean? So just to start it off, basically, the head teacher, McShane, put out a memo asking their teachers to recognise pronouns and to change the particular name of a boy or a girl to either a boy or a girl, and to use the pronouns they, them. And so basically Enoch wasn't happy about it, and he tried to express his concerns to the head, the principal, and he obviously he wasn't getting anywhere. We don't know the truth of what's going on, really. At the end of the day, as you know, there's always three stories: their story, his story, and the truth. And I will tend to honestly believe this man because he's a God-fearing man. You know what I mean? So, so what basically happened then, guys, was, there was, what basically got him to jail, as far as I can see, is that this McShane principal basically gave evidence saying that he embarrassed her by walking into a meeting, a teacher's meeting, and she felt like, without saying she felt threatened, she says she didn't feel right around him, and she didn't want to be, she felt like she had to come away from him, implicating that she was afraid, and there was an incident in the chapel where a bishop was just finishing off his sermon, and I think he'd finished that. I wouldn't imagine he would have interrupted him, you know what I mean? It doesn't actually say that. It's just the way they word things. You got to understand this is all left-wing. You're trying to decipher the truth from left-wing journalists, so you've always got to have that in mind. Even the wording of the reporters, like, lo and behold, you know what I mean? Because he got arrested, lo and behold, what kind of things that to say? That's basically saying you deserve it, but that's what was coming. These are reporters. The language that they're using, reporting in this. So very, very biased. You've got to understand that. A very difficult story to really look into, to find out the nitty gritty. And basically, Enoch gave a 2-minute speech about how he was feeling, about what he thought the Christian way should be, So that led him to basically being told he wasn't allowed back on the premises, So it wasn't like he got fired or anything. It was all about him refusing the transgender thing or the pronouns. This is a mistake that people are making, and it's letting the left jump on and, point out these mistakes, and it sort of dampens down your argument, I think. So basically, it was to do with that, but that wasn't the reason. The reasons were because they asked him to leave. And that's a civil dispute. That isn't really, that's as far as that goes. But what happened was this, the head teacher went to court to get an injunction, using the evidence, as I've said, things that he said, she's feeling uneasy and all the rest, and all sorts of mad stuff. And that was the injunction. He got an injunction put on him that he couldn't go there. So he went back there, and then they went back to court to tell the judge what he done. So the judge then jailed him. The judge then jailed him for that. And then he gets out again, and then what they did was they fined him. They fined him €700 every day that he went to the school. I don't know what the limit is. I haven't researched it. You can do that wee bit yourselves. I don't know what the total limit was. And then he was jailed for a second time, and the whole point of the fining, basically, the reason why he was released from jail the first time was the judge said that he was using the jail to his advantage. I swear to God, it's in black and white, guys. He says we're going to release you because you're using this. You're using this for your advantage. You know what I mean? And that was one of the only reasons. That's basically it's there. That's why they released him. You know what I mean? Because he was getting too much publicity. But as I was looking at it all, it was interesting to know that this McShane woman who took over the running of the school, she was quite involved with the Roman Catholic Church. So it wasn't her first rodeo, you know what I mean? And she'd been endorsed by quite influential people in the church, you know what I mean? I don't know the rickety-tickety in the politics of the church. You would need to look into that yourselves. I don't think she was right in there, but she was involved with other Catholic schools before this, you know what I mean? So, she was well coursed as far as the religious side of things to go. So, there's no like misunderstanding or anything, or this woman didn't know what she was doing. You know what I mean? It was like, But what I want you to take from that is this is the direction the church is going in, and I will try and explain it to you tonight. Don't shoot the messenger, guys. I'm just bringing this as a logical video, okay? And I fully support this man. You've got to understand that. I do support this man because I know in his heart he's a good man, okay? And he's a Christian man. You get me? And he's done I think it's 400 days he's done in total in prison. That's over a year, guys. That's a long time. That's a long time, for your principles and your morals, you know what I mean? This Mountjoy prison, it's not just, one of your super halls or, this is Mountjoy, rough wee jail, one of the most famous jails in Ireland. And, it's sad. I'm going to bring this video just because I need to bring a video. And I'm going to bring this video to you. And you can listen to the man himself. That way he gets his say, you know what I mean? Rather than me blabbering on and trying to give you my opinion. I'm trying to get you to understand the way it all happened. Started off with an email getting sent out to teachers to recognise a kid in the school that was transgender and to recognise pronouns they and them. And he wasn't happy about that and kept bringing it up, but he was hitting the brick wall. Nobody wanted to talk to him. He was being obviously usual, innit? You're a racist, you're a fascist, you're whatever, you know what I mean? Instead of getting in a dialogue, you know what I mean? And eventually they were able to push him out, and it's difficult. It's difficult being pushed out when you know you're right, your morals and all that. In your heart, you are right, you know what I mean? And legally, he was employed to do a job, and he was turning up for his job. That's the legal side of it, guys. The only way they could stop him, they couldn't sack him. The only way they could stop him was by taking an injunction out. And the court ordered that injunction. You understand? That's what he was in prison for, breaking the injunction. It's just like Tommy Robinson. It's the way they go, Tommy Robinson, a criminal. You know what I mean? For X, Y, and Z. Tommy Robinson, a criminal, because of things that the courts are doing to him that are wrong. And he's not accepting them. You understand? That's the way it is. That's the way, I understand he has broke the law. I get that. Like I keep saying, there's not many men can walk in the shoes of Tommy Robinson and not break the law. I'm surprised he hasn't broken the law a bit more, to be honest with you. Fair play to him. Fair play to the man. You know what I mean? 110%. I know how difficult it is in the streets and how many back seats he must have took in his life because he couldn't get involved. How many times he must have been out with his family and men giving him a hard time, or he could have reacted. You don't know how many times that man's probably had to stand back and stand down, So let's never lose sight of reality of life and get caught up in the bull that we get put on us by all these different social media search engines and broadcasters and MSMs, mainstream media. there's always a human involved, and there's always, like, you know what I mean, but they don't want, they don't, this is what I'm saying, they smother it all with other things, and they get another way of dealing with things, and this is just the way they work. It's the tactics of the left, you know. And you know, I'll bring the video. What's this?
Matter. That's what they said. It was a civil matter, and it's still a civil matter. And then the Gardaí came to this school this morning, and they came along, they drove up this driveway, and they pulled up, and they greeted the principal, and he ushered them into his office, spent 45 minutes there, and then they came out to me and said, we have made a decision that you're trespassing in such a manner as is likely to cause fear. That's what they said. No observation of the situation, totally preposterous. It's not trespassing to turn up at your place of work. That's absolutely not trespassing. I'm an employee.
It's no longer your
here.
place of work, Enoch.
I'm an employee here, and even the purported disciplinary meeting last week, the purport that was conducted unlawfully, was sought to be where solicitors for Mason, Hayes and Curran unlawfully sought to direct that meeting, and the chairperson was absent, a sham of a meeting. Even that purported meeting, with its purported dismissal, wasn't even to take effect for months. So that's absolutely not correct to say that I was trespassing on the premises. And then when it comes to likely to cause fear, that is an absolutely preposterous statement. It's absolutely reprehensible that I would do such a thing, ever put fear into anybody. I'm the meekest teacher in the school. I was simply standing outside the door because I was obstructed from going into work by the deputy principal. That's an absolutely preposterous thing to suggest. It's without a scintilla of reasonable of any reasonable purpose at all to make such a statement. Absolutely preposterous. So I turned up here at my place of work and was arrested and was conducted to Mullingar Garda Station and then was released a few moments later.
What were you charged with?
They stated that they were going to prepare a file for the DPP. That's what they stated, and that the DPP would make a decision on something that I was wrongfully arrested, and that's why I'm back here. I was wrongfully arrested. I've turned up at my place of work.
But it is no longer your place of work, Enoch.
No, I've turned up at my place of work since September this year.
It's no longer your place of work.
The purported dismissal wasn't even to take effect. Even the purported dismissal from last week wasn't even to take effect. There's been absolutely no change in my status since I've turned up here at the beginning of this year. And all of this is simply because I won't accept transgenderism. It's absolutely preposterous and very, very sad. Really, very, very, it's really terrible, and it's very, very wrong. And that's why I'm here.
Do you expect to be arrested again now? What do you think is the next step?
Here to teach, here to work, here to do my work. As every teacher in the country and every civil servant and every employee has an absolute right to do.
So you've heard from the man himself, you know, and it's just some of the things in the case that jump out at me, you know, the way this teacher reacted, this head teacher reacted about the whole situation, you know. The fear thing, you know, was a bit extreme, I think, you know what I mean? And just the way it was reported and stuff, there seemed to be something else going on, you know. It's very strange when you look into some of this stuff, you know, the lack of information and the way the information is given, and just hearing some of the stuff that was going on in court. You know, the judge asked them to leave, and changing courts at the last minute, so there was no reporters there. You know, it was like a lot of skullduggery going on. Definitely a lot of skullduggery going on, like, but I want to look at it, you know, and the most remarkable thing to me is the judge saying that he was using his prison sentence to his advantage, and they were releasing him because it was too much money in the taxpayers as well, you know. So, but, you know, that doesn't make any sense to me, you know. And but what I want to talk about, guys, just to be fair and balanced here, you know, we're Generation X, okay, and we lived in a different world. When we went to school, I didn't experience gay guys or or lesbian girls, and you know, obviously it would have been kept hidden. Don't know why this is unfocusing in and out. I must be trying to pick something up in the background, guys. I can see it focusing in and out. I'll try and sort it in CapCut. I don't know how to do that. I'll have a wee look, but you know, it's like it is a different era today, guys. And let me tell you, there was kids being born in the wrong body. I'm telling you, I'm being straight with you, you know. I don't know how else to say these things, but there was children being born in the wrong body. There was boys who, you know, are girls. Everything about them, apart from their features, is a girl, and vice versa. You know, and there's more and more of these kids coming through in society. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. I do not know what's going on. I really don't. Let me clean this lens. Just in case it's trying to catch something on the lens. Could have just been that. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand. Is it in the food? Is it in the air? You know, is it in the water? Something's happened to people, the human beings, that is quite remarkable. And it is new, guys. It is new. Okay, you would maybe get the odd one, you know what I mean? And we've seen people on TV, you know what I mean? Entertainers who are very feminine, guys that are very feminine. And, you know, yes, there is a characteristic that you're an actor, you could make yourself be feminine, you know what I mean? But there's evidence now of children, like when they're really, really young, showing all the signs of boys, all the signs of girls. And that is a problem. It's a problem for people like Enoch Burke. And it's a problem for Christians, because you've got to understand, you know, it's like, this is new. This is something new, you know, and I don't think anybody really understands it and accepts it. And this is what I'm getting at. There's no need there's no need that man didn't need to spend 400 days in jail. That school didn't need to behave the way they behaved towards him. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the silence. If you don't agree with the narrative, you just get silenced. You get shut down. You get expelled. You get pushed away. You lose your job. Some people lose their families and friends. What is the answer? You know, what if it was your child? This is what I want you just to think about. Just play devil's advocate, you know. And I know James is a big topic of yours as well, mate. You know, and quite a few other Irish people are right behind this man, 110%. And like I say, I am behind him. I do support him. I do support him. Of course I do. But what if it was your child? What if you had a child that was constantly a boy, constantly giving off thingies as a girl, and as they grow into puberty, it gets more obvious, and as they go into school, you know, you just know there's nothing. It's out of your control. This is out of your control, guys. You know, this is your child, a boy who, you know, in your heart, something's went wrong here. You know, every feature, every trait is a girl. The dolls want to dress up, you know, attracted the boys. Everything is there. What if it was your child? You know, this is what you've got to remember. There's always human beings involved, you know. And, you know, this is one particular child who was transgendering, I imagine, you know. But also on top of that, right, this is what you got to understand as well. How do the schools deal with this? Because you can't just open the floodgates and send emails out and tell all the teachers, right, from this day on, you've got to call the kids whatever they want to be called, and you've got to not say he, she, him, her. You know, that's not acceptable in any society. And that's what we got to remember. That man was jailed for that. Over a year in prison. And that's not acceptable. That is not acceptable. So it's not. So that's basically the story of what's happened to Enoch Burke in layman's terms, so you can totally understand without going into it and showing loads of videos and like putting a photograph up or whatever. And you know what I mean? I've done my research. I've remembered what I can. Like I say, I could write it down and then put a photo up and then read, you know what I mean? But I think it's important if I just, what I remember as a sort of thing I believe are the most important wee bits, you know, rather than just reading all the details and giving you all the names of everybody and, you know, all the different things that were said in court. There's loads of stuff for it, but you can do your research. I'm just bringing it to you and laying it down as best I can, bump. Now, some people might not agree with the way I've done it. You know, I'm just being honest, just looking at it logically. I'm trying to give you an understanding of how the other side look at it. They look at this as, oh my God, how could you do that? He deserves to go to prison. And a lot of people are like, how can they? And this is why. Because they see that child who is in a situation that they didn't ask to be in. Got to remember that. I'm fucking telling you. Yes, there's kids that play up and there's kids that... we all get that. I'm quite sure when I was a wee boy, I used to run about my ma's shoes and all the rest of it. You know, yes, we see that. That happens. But it comes and goes, guys. You know that. It comes and goes, you know. It's part of growing up, finding your way in life, you know, and, you know, a lot of boys will dress up in their mum's clothes and stuff and put on hats and shoes, but, you know, they look back in them photographs and beg their mothers not to put them online. You know what I mean? So that's just life as we know it. These kids aren't changing. These kids are in the wrong bodies. Please believe me, that's fact. Guys from Freedom Dads, you know, this is facts I'm hitting you with, guys. And I know a lot of you are like, yeah, we know that, but some people don't, guys. You've got to understand, some people have never experienced a gay person. They have never experienced a transgender. They don't have ever experienced a child, seeing a child grow up. I have. I've seen it, you know. I've seen my friends having to deal with it. And it is so, so difficult. And you've also got to remember this. The amount of pressure on the parents and how two parents can disagree. You got to understand that if you've got a boy and you've got that man who's got 3 girls and now you got a boy, and that boy, he's like, this is real life, guys. Try and think of this. Everybody's calling you perfume. You know the saying. I don't know if I can say it, but you know, man's bits perfume begins with B. Right? So that's a joke that men get when they can't have boys, and it's always, they're always knocking out girls, you know what I mean? Well, it's actually the woman, I know. You know what I mean? And then they get their boy, and then the boy, something's not right. You know, and the dad's trying to bring the boy out, you know, football, and something's not right. You know, and that can cause so many problems for families. So there's so much going on with this topic. Arms and legs that are just out there, the human, and this is what you've always got to try and take yourself back to. Always take yourself back to the human effect of the children, the human effect of the families, the human effect of Enoch Burke, and the human effect of Enoch Burke's families and all his supporters and followers, because they are right. In their heart, they are right, you know. In that child's heart, that child's right. And it's heartbreaking. It is so heartbreaking, guys. And I don't know what you're going to do with this information. I don't know if it'll help you, if it'll make you angry, you know. But I've got to be honest with you guys. And you have been asking me to look into it and, you know, do a wee bit more. And, you know, I'll always be totally honest and open with these guys, you know. Yes, the man should never have been in jail. There's a lot of bad stuff happened to him. It was really, really wrong. And on that grounds, I do support the man 110%. You know, things could have been done differently, but this is the problem in our society. Things are always never going to be done right from here on in. You know, it's always going to be overpowering. It's always going to be rammed down people's throat. And it's going to have the worst effect it's ever. Because the only people that are really suffering, guys, are the kids. Please remember that. I'm Freedom Dad. All my love. And God bless.